Today we're going to review my brand new 2020 Subaru Outback Onyx Edition. It's a great replacement for what I had, so let's get into it. So the big thing is the 8.7 inches of ground clearance, great for outdoors. One of the beautiful things I feel like about it is these blacked out wheels. Like, just look at them, these are so crispy. And then as we look at the front, it's got a nice stance. It just looks good. And then lastly on the outside, we got these rails. At some point I gotta figure them out. I haven't got that far yet. All right, now that we've looked at the outside, let's look at the inside. But first, let's let some light in here. Hello, you can actually see me now. It doesn't look like I'm sitting in a dungeon. So from a driver point of view, this is actually the perfect layout for me. I'll explain. Almost everything you can just do right here. You got all your buttons to cycle through everything. Display, you can make whatever you need. And this beauty shows everything. Let's go. Just to Starlink, I'm doing that separately. So here we got the built-in navigation, radio, media, phone, everything you would need for that. But more importantly, if you plug the phone in, you'll get Android Auto, which is amazing. Mine usually defaults to Google Maps, Spotify, and the weather, which are the three things I need. Just overall, using everything once you get to this point is easy because everything's touchscreen. I know some people are like, I want the knobs back, I want the buttons back. You know, this touchscreen, it just hits. It doesn't miss. I've had great experience with it. But then let's talk about this. You got the buttons, you can slide your music back and forth. You can change the source. You can use this for your Google features, which is great. Adjust the volume there. And then on the other side is all your driving stuff. You got your lane depth for cruise control. Touch on that later. You've got cruise control and then lane assist. I always forget the exact name, but something in lane assist. Keeps you in your lane while you're driving, which is nice. And then, you know, cruise control up or down. And then lastly, we have our cluster, right? Tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right, you know, fuel on the right, coolant on the left. Then you can just cycle through the options here, find the one that makes the most sense for you. Me personally, I'm a big fan of fuel economy. How am I doing? But that's enough about the technology. Let's talk about some of the other features. This one in particular I like. It's got the button right here. Click that. We'll click and hold. Heyo, we got a sunroof. I've never had a vehicle with a sunroof. I'm quite excited for this. All right, now let's get into one of the reasons I bought the Subaru though, the interior. So check it. I got the seats laid down right now. Plenty of space. I want to do some car camping in this. That was a big reason I bought the Outback. It's because I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'1", and once everything is set up correctly, I'll actually be able to sleep in it, so I don't have to sleep on the ground anymore. Because let's be real, I'm on the wrong side of 30. My knees can't take that anymore. Also, I have adult money, so there's that. But to double back on technology real quick, you know, a lot of vehicles, they have you can go up, kick it, get the hatch open. This one's a little different. Here we got the symbol. Only works if you have the fob on you. Don't try to rob somebody. So here we're going to talk cargo space. It's got space, right? Seats down, you've got 6 feet of space there. I've already got my stuff in here and it all fits comfortably. Because one of the things coming from a small car like I did was the fact space sucked in that thing. It was a fuel efficient car for when I needed it, but I don't need it anymore. So happy to have the space to enable me to go on adventures. That's what I'm most excited about here. So we've looked at the inside, we've looked at the outside. Let's go drive around for a second and talk about performance. So I've briefly talked a little bit about why I want the car. That way it enables me to do more outdoor stuff, you know, little adventures of sorts. But there's also another reason I chose this specific trim. Technically, this is the Subaru Outback XT trim, Onyx edition. So Onyx, it just has a few features. But one of the specific things that comes up at the XT level or higher is you get a different engine option. Most of your Subaru Outbacks have a 4-cylinder, and it's very economical. It's a great engine, you know, people love it, which is fine. But at this trim level, you get the turbocharged 4-cylinder, and that means zoom, zoom, you go fast. Specifically, why I wanted the turbo is a few reasons. One, you know, if I've been at like high elevation before, you know, I lived in Denver many years. When you're trying to drive at 7, 8, 9, 10,000 feet, your vehicle is so weak, it's noticeable. For those that don't know, you lose about 3% of your horsepower for every 1,000 feet above sea level without forced induction. Forced induction, i.e. turbo or supercharged, in this case the turbocharged 4-cylinder, that goes away because it's cramming air into the engine so you always have power. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason, much more superficial, is driving my Ford Focus as long as I did. It was weak. It just took a while to get up to the interstate, you know, the 70, 80 miles an hour. Whereas here, once the turbo spools up, like, you're moving. So as we're driving, I want to talk about the eye assist features. Right above where I have my phone showing, there's a sensor that's always looking out to gauge the distance of cars in front of me and where I'm at in the road. So that way when I turn on cruise control, it'll keep me centered if I have the lane assist on, otherwise I'm on my own. But additionally, you know, as you go, especially on the interstate, you know, somebody cuts in front of you, either you have to slow down or hope you don't have to slam on the brakes, right? This does all of that for me. Obviously, you still want to be vigilant because you don't want to have a false sense of safety. But this reacts quicker than I could in a lot of cases, which is great. And as traffic comes and goes, you know, people move in front of me, it'll slow down a little bit. And as people haul ass, take off, it'll get back up to the cruise limit speed I have it set at, whatever that may be. In this case, I have it set at 55 as I'm driving down this highway. This little Mazda car in front of me cannot seem to go above 42. So right now we're doing 42. And traffic is flying past me. The weirdest thing about the lane assist that helps keep you in lanes is when you're not used to it. Here's what I mean. You're driving down the road, you have your hands on the steering wheel, you're paying attention, you make your micro adjustments as you go, like, oh, you know, pothole, I'm gonna swerve around it. Oh, I'm going a little too close to the line, I'm gonna come back in. This does it for you. And what I mean is you still have to touch the steering wheel. It's not fully autonomous, it's not that level. However, as you're holding it, you know, the road will turn slightly, it'll turn slightly with the road. It's insane. And it's very off-putting the first time you use it because it's making these adjustments that normally you would do, and it feels weird. I'm sure you might have heard a few of the beeps, you know, as I've been driving. Those are you telling me something in the sense of, you know, cars in front of me, it's going to adjust, you know, car stopped, stuff like that. So I know when it comes to engine performance, a lot of people get lost in the numbers. They're like, oh, you know, this car only has X horsepower, blah, blah, blah. To me, it's like, I'm an average person. This isn't my daily living of having the most horsepower. It does what I need it to do, and I'm happy with it. So with the lane assist, you can set the distance between you and the car in front of you. It's typically got 3 settings, you know, healthy distance, medium distance, close distance. Me personally, I just default to healthy distance. I'm on a pretty well-traveled interstate. People come and cut me off all the time. I'd rather there be a gap there for somebody to merge in instead of them just merge in and I have to adjust. That's my preference. You know, what works for me may not work for you. One thing I almost forgot to mention about the lane assist features is they're on, you know, they tell you're on, it's lit up on the dash, which is great. When you turn your blinker on, it'll still check distance, but as far as keeping you in the lane, that feature stops. At that point, it is on you to make sure you can safely change lanes. But each of the mirrors has a little orange LED light, which if it's lit up, somebody's there. If it's like flashing like crazy, like they're in your blind spot. So they do have that feature, which is great. So now let's talk about the transmission here in the Subaru Outback. This has what is called a CVT transmission, constantly variable transmission. In layman's terms, it's very good at finding efficiency and power at any given time because it's got a near limitless set of ratios. That's super technical. High level, it means it can be very efficient, very powerful, and deliver that power. One thing that this car in particular has is that it has paddle shifters right here behind the steering wheel to upshift and downshift as if it was like a sports car, right? But then as we're sitting here talking about that, if it doesn't have gears, how does that work? The transmission is programmed with 8 ranges it'll keep it in. So it imitates an 8-speed transmission, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as you go through the paddles, downshift. It's pretty responsive. I do enjoy it. We'll see if I can't run through the gears here real quick as I deal with traffic on this day of recording. All right, asshole. I guess that's a teasel turn then. Yeah, super responsiveness. You hit the paddle, it shifts. You know, here we're slowing down, downshift. It's just responsive, it's on it. Having said that, if you do put it in manual mode, you do have to shift or else you'll sit there at like 5, 6, 7,000 RPM. So you gotta make sure you're paying attention. There's one more feature in this I just have not been able to test yet, and that's called X mode. It has some various modes you can put it in for different types of terrain you're in: snow, deep mud, rain, etc. And it'll just change how everything operates to help you get maximum traction and safety. It's been pretty dry now that I bought this, and the one rainstorm we had, I'm like, it's a good time to stay inside, so I did. So that will be coming in a future video once I get a chance to play with it and see what it does. The one time I'm not recording during this drive, I had a great chance to show off a feature, and now I don't get to. What was happening is I was driving, somebody in a BMW, take that typecast as you will, decided to cut me off, slam on his brakes, and just change lanes. Immediately it applied the brakes and said, hey, obstacle detected, and slowed down until the BMW driver went away. So yeah, great feature. The safety stuff in this is pretty phenomenal. I am quite impressed. So the big question with any vehicle is fuel economy, right? If fuel's not cheap, you want to be mindful of that depending on your budget and your needs. Well, me opting for the turbocharged 4-cylinder, I'm definitely accepting I'm not going to get the fuel economy I would in the traditional 4-cylinder a lot of these have. It's advertised 21 in town and 30 on the highway. Mostly I'm in town unless I'm out driving. In the town I'm getting a little less than 21, not through any fault of the car, but because I sit and drive through lines too much. I've got a bad habit of hitting up Starbies and everything else, so that's why my economy is less than ideal. And you know, sometimes I just want to fill the turbo, so you gotta mash the gas and get the pull. So as we summarize this Subaru 2022 Outback Onyx Edition, I think it's a great car for many people. It's got a lot of space, it's got a lot of features, it's got a lot of safety built into it, which to me is top. So the average person I think could do very well with this car, but also does have a bit of a premium for all these prices. Me, I bought this car, we're just gonna round call it $27,000 used, right? Because it's 2025 as I'm recording this, so I paid $27,000 for this. Not everybody can do that, that's totally valid. So, I was talking about the interior, and I forgot to mention one thing earlier. It has rear heated seats. I've never seen that in a vehicle till this, so yeah. You know, if you got the seats up, people sit in the back, and it's cold winter, they have heated seats, which I'm sure they will appreciate. So plans for the Subaru is adventures. We're gonna get some stuff so I can sleep in it, because again, I don't wanna sleep on the ground. I'm past that point in my life. Get stuff to sleep in it. We have some great spots here, so much more adventure stuff coming soon. Also, I gotta figure out a rooftop Thule box, so there's that. So this has been my initial review of the 2020 Subaru Outback Onyx Edition. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to hear them. Also, where are my Subi fans at? Let's connect.